Welcome everybody to those attending, also to our viewers watching live on the Council's YouTube channel, Hillingdon, London. This is a meeting of the Property, Highways and Transport Select Committee. My name is Councillor Keith Burrows and I'll be chairing this meeting. Details of business being considered today are shown on the agenda, copies of which are available in the room and also accessible on YouTube underneath the broadcast. Just some housekeeping for those that are in the room. We are not expecting a fire drill, so if the fire alarm goes off, we do have to evacuate the building, but follow officers on directions to the fire exits and out to designated meeting points. Also, for those in the room, you have one of these wonderful gadgets. I think near enough everybody in this room has probably got one, including the students. Can you make sure they're on silent or turned off, please? Also, for those watching via YouTube, if so minded, you can complete one of our resident feedback forms. These can be found in the information section underneath the YouTube video. These forms are intended to help us improve the way that we run our meetings for our residents. With that said, for those at home, I will do my usual once we've had the apologies, and I will go round the room and ask councillors just to introduce themselves and officers, and then we move on to the agenda. So we move to item 1, apologies, please.
Apologies from Councillor Tuckwell with Councillor Higgins substituting.
Thank you. Are there any declarations of interest from any councillors in things for us this evening? Thank you, that's fine. Can we now go round the table to introduce ourselves so those watching on YouTube know officers and councillors present? I've already said I'm Councillor Keith Burrows and I'm chair of this meeting.
Good evening. My name is Councillor Alan Chapman.
Good evening. I'm Councillor Darren Davies. Councillor Henry Higgins.
Andy Goodwin, Head of Strategic Finance.
Kerry Lamoureux, Head of Finance for Place.
Councillor Kamal Preet Kaur.
Councillor Garlick.
Good evening, Councillor Peter Money.
Good evening, Anisha Teji, Democratic Services.
Right, thank you. As you know, we will go through the minutes first from our previous meeting, 14th of November. I will flick through the pages as I usually do. If you have any comments, then please just raise your hand. Page 1, page 2, 3, and 4. Can we accept those as a true record of the meeting? Agreed. Thank you. I'd just like to confirm that all items on the agenda this evening are in part 1. There are no items in part 2. So we'll move straight on now to item 5, which is the Select Committee's review into the Council's road safety initiatives and activities around the Borough schools. This is our third witness session. You will note from the agenda that we only had one witness, Mr. Rakesh Kumar. That's you, sir. Welcome. However, you'll probably notice from the room, we've got more than one witness. We have with us this evening also Mr. Sidhu, Head Teacher from Guru Nanak Sikh Academy. We've also got Mrs. Marina Botros, a teacher, and we've also got 4 students from the school who are all going to contribute after we've heard from Mr. Rakesh Kumar. So Mr. Kumar, basically what we would like to know from you as a local resident living near a school, what it's like for you when school sessions are in and pupils are about to come out, and then councillors may ask you some questions if you're okay with that. To actually speak, all we need you to do is just push the button on the mic and it's over to you.
Hi there, I'm a resident then of Wood End Green Road, right next to Rosedale College, which is 4 other schools comprised of the trust as well, across who end it is. So you got Rosedale College, you got the primary, you got the Tea Tree Centre, I think it is, Rosedale, for the preschools. You also got another complex you have as well, Parkside School on the one complex. So the school itself on Wood End Green Road is going to have redevelopment done. as you're all aware, as councillors, we've all been told, residents as well. Right now, the roads are horrendous. It's been like that for some time, since the redevelopment. I'm all for the kids learning, kids going to school. That is a must. I understand that. There is no bus stops or anything on Wood End Green Road, so a lot of the parents, majority of them, have to then drive down the road to drop off the children. They do, or the children have to walk down the road. Now, Wood End Green Road currently is being used by a lot of people, parents in particular, parking up, but then it's used by people on, say, a working week as a diverted road it is to get to their work or where they need to go, as any means as such. I've got a terminal illness of multiple sclerosis, so I do get a bit confused, I do, conflicting, a lot of jumbling emotions, but how do I put it into words? So please mind me. So the school working week day, it's pretty much starting from 7:30 all the way through to 9 o'clock in the morning. End of day of the school day can be anything from 3 o'clock all the way to 5:30, 6 p.m. It can. Now this is due to the 4 different schools, all finishing at different times they are. Currently you have sign postage on the road, single line, yellow lines, where parents should abide the law. I'm a blue badge holder. I follow the rules, so I know I'm not meant to park on double yellow lines as well as single yellow lines. Near the school, near the primary it is, and the nursery, you have a allotment area there. Parents seem to park on top of the pavement, as well as where it says keep clear signs, and it causes a single lane of traffic just trying to go through. So it's like a Wild West kind of thing, gunsling, with horns beeping off and everything, like today at the end of the day. Shift it was. Oh, not shift, school day, sorry. So you got all those issues there with parents trying to park up, along with the some people going to work, trying to go to Heathrow Airport, or trying to avoid Uxbridge Road, or go to Hounslow or Southall, using it as a by road it is. The school's going to get redeveloped, as I've made you all aware. More pupils will be going there, as there's going to be also redevelopment on the Borough Hall House site as well, Grade 1 listed building. The proposal is for more affordable homes to be built. I'm all for the schools, but I think the infrastructure needs to be put in place prior to anything going ahead, for the safety and well-being of the children. The youngsters are experiencing a lot of the antisocial behaviour currently. Parents beeping, swearing, fighting, school kids running across the roads, near misses, nearly getting knocked over, all in the presence of no proper traffic maintenance being held, zebra crossings or pelican crossings or anything. No lady to just monitor the street like lady, crossing lady, sorry, MS. There's a lot of issues. I live literally a door down from the school it is. I raised this issue back in 2013, I believe it was. It was, I think, local councillor Steve Austin at the time. I think it was a councillor, I'm not too sure, someone, transport head it was, who attended that time. Councillor Janet Garner attended that time as well, raised the issues that were ongoing for some time it was. Like I say, I'm all for the development of the area, but other things need to be put in place beforehand. There are currently people parking on the main roads who aren't residents. I know that the residents don't want residents-only parking, so that became a bit of an issue. I said maybe just put double yellow lines in, or put a single yellow line as such. Like outside my property, there's a single yellow line, but parents still park on top of the curbs, as long the single yellow line, double yellow lines, and so forth. Parking attendants do attend, but not very often. They've got a rota as such. This is all now outsourced. It is. A lot of your, the, you know, single yellow line, double yellow lines, and so forth. Parking attendants do attend, but not very often. They've got a rota as such. This is all now outsourced. It is. A lot of your, the, you know, single yellow line, double yellow lines, and so forth. Parking attendants do attend, but not very often. They've got a rota as such. This is all now outsourced. It is. A lot of your kind of payments are to outsource companies that are monitoring all these things, from CCTV to the ambulances, a lot of these things. But if we were to bring everything in-house, maybe get local residents working within the streets, working with the schools as such, it brings along more community spirit and more of a place of Hillingdon where people want to move to, because you have got an influx of people moving to Hillingdon currently, international people as well. So signpostage of making people aware of what the rules are and where they can go to get the information is vital as well for the parents, just to see what they are allowed to do and what they aren't allowed to do. I know it's a strenuous task of putting it in different languages, but it's something that needs to be done and conveyed across all races, cultures and people who attend the school. But the school itself, my boys attend there. Well, the one is now. The other one's gone to university. But the one is now, sixth form. And he says that, yeah, it is a problem, and safety is a big must. And I don't think that is being looked at or monitored in any way, shape or form currently. And then with the housing project being on the agenda, it's not happening, but it's planned because it's been sold off, Borough House, as you're aware. But if that does get the go-ahead, it's going to cause more strain on the area there. Maybe make it a one-way system, get someone in the local area to monitor each roads down each school, or where the Guru Nanak premises is. I know that road gets pretty chock-a-blocked as well with the businesses and everything there, but just getting companies and people working within the local community spirit of Hillingdon, I would say. I could carry on, but I'm not too sure what else to say. It's been an ongoing issue with us. Sometimes I've got MS, like I mentioned, and it disturbs my sleep quite rigorously. It does, from morning to evening and night time as well, when people are just using it as a by-lane, speed racers and everything. As Councillor Janet Gardner, as you're aware, has complained about it is, because I do hear the noises, the motorcycles, the cars revving and everything at 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock at night, or using it down our road it is. And you have the cameras there, but they're not being monitored. And that's the truth it is. So maybe bring the CCTV arm, where it's been outsourced, bring it in-house, get people working within-house at the Hillingdon Council, local people, creating jobs as well. And that can be worked in other areas within the building sector and other areas as a whole. But yeah, that's all I've got to say really. Sorry about that. Any questions otherwise?
Thank you, first of all, for coming in. It's really appreciated by us as councillors and as an authority. So I'll throw it open. Councillor Higgins.
Thank you for your time. Just a quick question. How much outreach has the school done with the neighbourhood?
I've received none, to be honest. I've spoken to them directly. Spoke to a teacher yesterday at the parents' meeting. They said the school is going to be given the go-ahead, either way you agree or don't agree. Other residents were told this as well. They were on the day of the meeting being held about the project, what was going to be held and what was going to be done. We were told that the new building was going to be built right next to my next door neighbour's house, which is overlooking my garden. I wrote a little email to yourself saying that, yeah, I could be stark naked and you'll be looking down upon me then, in a funny way, but it's not going to be rather good, it ain't, because the door's currently left open and, yeah, residents are being, like their privacy is being pried upon, which it is currently, but no contact whatsoever, unfortunately.
Councillor Chapman.
Chairman, I'm tempted to ask about what reply you got to the stark naked letter, but I'll chat about with it afterwards. You mentioned enforcement officers, and I think everybody sort of has question marks about, you know, we never see them, that sort of thing. Do you ever see much from your local police, say for neighbourhoods team, in terms of outside schools? I should explain that my understanding is they've got just as much power in terms of traffic enforcement, etc., probably more than an enforcement officer.
I believe in today's day and age, in 2023, if you were to question anyone of the public, they are going to be firstly scared for their own well-being. I was knocked over, punched by an individual from Uxbridge Road. I just went into the local Iceland. The guy undertook me, and then he seemed upon himself just to park up and come out and hit me. So I think other parents would be very scared to be even questioning how people are parking or saying anything with the way people's aggressions are just coming out. And this is from the home part it is. Local police, I've seen police drive down the road because the police station is down the road, it is further. And they seem to just weave their way themselves in and out of the traffic they do. Only now and then they put the blues on to quickly get past, and that's it. Traffic wardens, some apply their tickets, some people don't, is what I see. I'll be interested to see what they have picked up recently, how many tickets they've issued out, how many fines, because you got the frequency of continuous drivers parking on top of the pavements, single yellow lines and double yellow lines. And are they monitoring it really? Because then that's money out of the council's pocket, it is, in essence, and off their table. And if you're a business, then how are we going to operate as a business then?
Councillor Money.
Thank you, Chairman. You mentioned that you've got one child in sixth form there, and one that's left the school. Did you ever receive any notifications from the school to the parents to say, look, the traffic's getting out of control, parents are not parking properly? Have the school been proactive in sending any literature or emails or notes out to the parents who are, I mean, their children go to the school, so the safety should be the utmost, importance to them. Is that something that school does?
Like I say, my child is in sixth form now. He's a pretty well-behaved boy, he is. They did send letters out in the past, but like I say, it's a multicultural area now. It is people of other nationalities, and then having it in different languages is a vital thing. It is to make parents aware. Currently, I don't think they have sent anything out because my boy hasn't presented anything to myself. But I do say that he's in sixth form, so I think they're looked upon differently. They are as more mature adults, kids they are as such, transiting into the normal working world. It is as such, but nothing else otherwise.
Councillor Paul, you've got a supplementary to that?
Yeah, just
okay.
Not to that, but just a further point to make. I'll do it afterwards.
Yeah, do it. I've got Councillor Davis after. I'll take Councillor Davis and Councillor Call, and I'll come back to you. Councillor Davis.
So I used to go to Hewins College, so I was part of that trust. That road has been a nightmare for a very long time. Are they still having staff on the gates directing or asking people to move on, and especially on the opposite side of the road where the pavement is dropped and cars drive along that section of the pavement? Would it benefit to have that pavement risen to stop cars driving on it, or something to be put on there? Do you think that would have an effect?
I think everything that we put in place right now would have a positive effect, but then it can also cause a rather antisocial behaviour of the parents, because they're going to be saying, where do we park, where do we go then, how will we manage to drop our children off to school as such in a safe way or environment. I think what we need to think about is, if the school's getting redeveloped, is we got to send out a letter to all the children parents, or the parents, make them aware that if they are picking up their children, there's enough grounds, school grounds, where they can make concessions of a pick-up point it is, or even near down by Borough Hall, where they can catch a little shuttle bus from there to the school to make it more viable and safer for the neighbourhood, disabled people, myself, for the elderly in the area as well, but the youngsters in particular, in what they experience and how they're experiencing it. Because you've got to remember what the youngsters are going to pick up right now with the antisocial behaviour that is currently happening, which has happened since your time at Hewins, which is still going on. And my time since 2002 living there, I've seen the drastic change in the area. as my next door neighbour, who's been there even longer than myself. She said that it used to be a very, very good area in the past, and that it used to be a boarding school, Rosedale College used to, and the area was a lot quieter it was, and more sociable it was. But now it's just a lot of Wild West kind of driving tactics going on down that road it is. But raising of the pavements would work. Even putting a little bar across, maybe, that would work by the allotment. There's a lot of things you could do to implement, but even making it just a residential area, I'm not too sure if that would work as well, in certain sense. Or even just moving the nursery over by Borough Hall, which I said to local MP John MacDonald when he held a meeting, which Councillor McCall was a part of as well, but I had to go due to ill health, it was. But that's all I can mention upon that.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Councillor Cole? Have you got supplementary? Sorry, Councillor Davis.
I'll come back.
Okay, Councillor Cole.
Thank you, Mr. Kumar, for coming in today. I just wanted to understand from a perspective of a resident who's, as you said, living nearby. You've mentioned few things that the council can do, which in terms of, if we interpret in terms of, say, more enforcement or CCTV. Is there anything else, do you think, as council can help the residents living on the streets across? Because what schools need to do is another part that the council can look at. But what council can do for the residents along those streets to help you better? Thank you.
One thing I was thinking about was back when Heathrow Airport was just starting off, if you think of it, Terminals 1 and 2, I think it was at the time, and 3 was on the agenda. I'm thinking about when I used to work at the airport. But what they did was offer a scheme through the government. It was to provide those people in the flight path, I think it was double glazing or triple glazing, to just stop the outside noise going in within the properties, to try and condense everything down of the outside noise pollution, which is disturbing their normal day-to-day life. I would think that would be the only thing, or just making it more monitored, like I've mentioned in the emails to yourselves. Maybe offer, the CCTV camera roles to local people, creating more jobs for the local Hillingdon council, but then also bring it in-house. Instead of outside costs, you're bringing it all inside costs, which is more controlled in a better environment, maybe, as a business idea, that is, you could say. Instead of outsourcing, bring it in-source, and then there you go, you're saving on costs, you are finding a better contract. I think it's a bit lazy, it is, if Hillingdon Council is to constantly outsource a lot of roles there, where you could bring it in-house, save on costs, bring it down the deficit that we're facing currently, and then you can expand on other areas, but then bringing that community spirit within. But it's all with a thinking idea. It is an idea starts many things it does as such.
Councillor Money, you wanted to come back?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a point that our witness made there. It'll be good to have the statistics on the tickets that have been generated through the CCTV, because every school has a CCTV camera outside it now, from my understanding, on the zigzags, and also the frequency of how often the parking enforcement officers visit. It'd be just a good statistic to have for our report moving forward, I think.
Councillor Davis.
My question was on CCTV as well. Thank you, Chairman. When you talk about the CCTV, it's as if you didn't know it was there. So we have automatic ANPR cameras outside the schools. Do you think they're signposted enough as a deterrent? Do you think that if we were to adjust I know it's got standard signage, but if it was to be adjusted, do you think that would help deter people from stopping? I've been down this road a lot, so I understand, but I wanted your opinion on it.
Personal opinion is it needs to be adjusted. You need more than just one CCTV camera that's dishing out the camera tickets, it is, if it is going to be monitored like that. But then knowing the frequency is the biggest thing it is. Now, having a person attending the site is a vital thing, because then people get put off on actual person being there. If no one's there, they're going to say, well, the cameras, are they working or aren't they working? Why did I mention that? Finding out how many tickets are being given out, because I see the frequency of the regular people breaking the law, and that's the truth of it. From the Lockmont area, which is a lot closer to the school than where I am, which is number 43, which is a little further on down, just a door down, the camera doesn't go past the school premises, is what I've been aware of. They've told me. My question is why? If the law is being broken, then why isn't it being enforced in the first place then? The law is the law, is it not? That's what I thought would be the normal way of thinking. But it's obviously not being implemented in the correct manner, and it's been misinterpreted.
Councillor Higgins?
Yeah, I think we're getting a little bit sidetracked here. The cameras are there issued for a certain area of that road outside the school where they don't want cars to be parked so the kids can get in easier. To then monitor the whole road is a different kettle of fish. I mean, obviously, going back to bringing things back in, I mean, the council does very well with their contracts. I can assure you that we have three. We have three. Every contract has 3 proposals, and it goes out to tender and everything else. So, if we brought some services back in that can work, and maybe some can't, but I'll just point that out. I do think we're getting a little bit sidetracked with the councils. It's, to a certain extent, this is my opinion. We do have some responsibility as the council, but also the school has a lot of responsibility. These are parents of their children going to that school. So I think we should be looking at that first before we start going and saying, well, the council should do this and do that. I mean, this is not an isolated issue just outside your school. In schools in my borough is the same thing, I'm sure, in other councils around here. So we just have to find a new way of how to people to be kind and understand other people. I think is the first thing we can do, and that should be something that they should be looking at.
Sorry, I disagree with that. The reason being, the duty of care of a student is 24/7. If they've got the uniform on, as I've been made aware from work, if you've got your uniform on, you are representing the school outside premises or work premises or anything, yeah, just like yourself. Now, the parents are going to drop them off to go to school and everything. As a local council, then, you have the responsibility and duty of care of all the residents to the point of where the school is, where the duty of responsibility then is handed over for them to take over the kids' responsibility. On the main road, where the cameras are and where the children are being parked up and then dropped off into the school premises, then who's under that responsibility then? That's the legality part that you're saying then. And that due to, responsibility, I would say, falls down to the council, because then if a child is kidnapped and that camera could have picked it up a little bit further on down, would the police pick it up or not pick it up?
Councillor, yeah.
I know where I'm going to go with this. So, no, I think I'm not a legal person, so my advice is that question to get some legal advice. I don't think that's correct, but I'm not going to say. Okay.
We've noted that, and we take legal advice on it. But the cameras are to monitor the zigzags. That's what they were put in for. It's not to monitor the whole neighbourhood. Enforcement officers, they have to also give an observation time to drivers to give them the time to actually move. They can't just step up and slap a ticket on them, because that's the way the rules are written. Not by us, okay? But they have to follow certain rules as well. They have to give observation times. And obviously they are on a rota, so we will get stats of how often they go into this area. But we know as councillors, we've all got this issue in our wards. They do have to move around, but we take the stats. Any other questions for the witness? Councillor Gaelic?
Of some schools where the school gets involved, they sort of talk to the pupils and try to persuade them to talk to their parents, because I know that as young people sometimes they get embarrassed by their parents' behaviour. if the students would ask their parents not to do what they are doing, maybe that would be an idea.
Personally, I think a parent will always be a parent, and they would majority think that they know is what is right for their child. And they will say that if they need to make sure their child is dropped off in a safe manner, and that's right next to the school, and then dropping them off next to the school, that's what they're going to do. I was one of the lucky ones where I lived next to the school. I pre-planned it, for the wife and everything like that. But then, one other question I have is, in general, is the stats that we were talking about. It would be interesting to know how much profit are these companies are making from all the tickets and everything, and organisations, and then why ain't they getting more people?
We're now drifting way off track now on road safety outside schools. That's down to us as a council to deal with the stats and profits and monies, etc. Any other questions for Mr. Kumar? No? Thank you, sir, for coming in and giving us your frank views of the road you live on and the issues you suffer, and obviously your neighbours are under the same sort of suffering as well, I expect. We really do appreciate you taking your time to actually come in and see us this evening.
I did forget to mention one thing. A lot of the residents are also having people get blocked in their own homes. They are like myself. So if I have to pick up my son from the train station, I can't leave because I'm blocked in. I am. So if there's an emergency, like Dawn had to quickly go out to check up on her daughter who lived further on down, because she had bad fall, she couldn't get out the house because the parents would have moved. She's even had school parents park on her drive as such like that, as I see on a regular on my next door neighbour. But it is a very, very wild road, it is. So, yeah, hopefully something can get solved with it. All right?
Okay, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. We really appreciate you coming. You can go if you want to. All right. All right. Okay, sir. Thank you very much. We really appreciate your time. I'll take the head teacher first, shall I? Or do you want me to?
They all come together so we could all...
What, they'll all come up in one mass to the table? Yes, well, yeah, you can do if you want to. How are you going to sit them all? Yeah. Okay, we taking the pupils first, or the head teacher? No. We'll take the pupils first then. Who's going to speak? You two young ladies first, or are you all going to chip in together?
I just wanted to introduce.
Yeah, I was going to ask them to do that actually, to introduce themselves.
My name is Martina Botros. So I've been running a YTA, what we used to call YTA, Youth Travel Ambassadors at Gurnanak Sikh Academy for about 7 years now. So we actually, and this is only a part. I've got 15 amazing students at the moment. I've met you before at Dragon's Den. So probably meet you again, hopefully, at the end of the month. But so we really, a lot of the problems described we have as well. But we work with Transport for London and Hillingdon Council. They have a dedicated staff team. But it isn't easy. But it definitely makes a difference if we try to encourage sustainable, active and safe methods of travel to school. So we could tell you what we've done already, and we could also tell you what we're hoping, what we are hoping to achieve in the future, and also what we would like to have help from the council with as well. So any of you three can now take over.
And if you can just state your name as well for us so we know who you are.
I'm Hanisha Kalyan, and I'd like to say that what we've done in the past, so we have done quite a significant amount in the past, And one of the main issues that we also had was students crossing the road, as there were no zebra crossings or anything on our road, and it is quite a long road as well. So I believe in the past, it was 2 or 3 years ago, we campaigned and we managed to get 2 zebra crossings. However, they're quite a distance away from each other as well, so there's still those issues ongoing, but they're just a bit more decreased.
My name is Yudhvir Singh, and I'm a normal guy who drives a bicycle every day to school. And thing is, in the cycle lane, it's been introduced really recently, whereas people before there was no cycle lane. So, but now the thing is, you only have one cycle lane that goes in the school, Springfield Road, but it doesn't come out. So I was just requesting that, because I believe it was around 2 or 3 people. There was me and one more friend that actually used the cycle lane, the first one, that used to go by cycle. But then just after a year, the cycle lane was there, refurbished. Around 20 people in total came in and started going by cycle. So I think just by making a new cycle lane that goes outside of school, it will boost a lot of people to come to school with a bicycle and with more greener ways.
So just to explain, so what Yudhvir is saying, we've got quite a big road and there's only one lane, and everybody who cycles has to go down that lane up and down. But if we could have another lane on the other side, then we could encourage more cyclists. So he's already explained how we increase the number of students cycling, so that would be great.
Hi, my name's Indrajot Singh, and I've been a part of the YTA for 1 year, 1.5 years now. And throughout the years, we've been progressively working on how students can use other various ways of transport rather than going by car, because we know that the pollution is quite high, especially in the UK, and it's quite a populated area in itself. So we've been hosting competitions here and there to get students to ride on bikes, and we've kind of been promoting that across the school in itself. We've been doing competitions, we've been hosting different types of events, and we also came up with an idea where students could win prizes if they do walk the most that they're able to in around 2 weeks or so, or bike. So thank you.
My name is Melania and I'm in Year 9. So I'd just like to address one more thing. So I live quite close to the school. I live within half a mile, but I'm still having to come by car because my parents go to work straight after dropping me off. So I've actually asked my parents to walk to school, and the reason they've been denying it is because it's quite unsafe. There's 2 routes from my house. One's through Minette as well. So Minette, as you all know, it's full of greenery, but it's really unsafe, especially with other people loitering around and the lack of lighting, especially in the winters, and after school as well. So and the subway, the tunnel near I think it's a little river after you cross into Minette. So I think a few things that would help there would be more lighting and more security for the students and parents near the subway. One more thing is there's this, when you turn into Wicks, into Springfield Road, there's the traffic light has a camera near it, but it doesn't actually have the full coverage, I think, because people from the road next to it, the lane next to it that leads to Southall, people merge into the Springfield Road lane, which actually causes, it's prone to more accidents, and like even a small bump would cause the whole lane to shut down, and then it causes the queue to long up for longer. So I think one thing that would help there would be maybe, I'm not sure what, but it would be like to separate the two lanes to make it a one-way lane instead, rather than other lanes being able to merge in.
As YTA, we also came up with an initiative that would solve Melania's problem. So we came up with something called walking groups. So as parents are always considering their child's safety as a main moral, so we decided that we could have sixth form volunteers or staff volunteers or maybe even parents possibly getting involved, and we could get them to walk a small group of students down the road, or depending on the distance. We've come up with quite a few stops that we could have, and from there we could meet, and as students we could walk to school, which not only solves congestion but also solves traffic and many other problems that happens at Springfield Road.
Also, people again that cycle to school, there's when you go outside the school, on the left side there's an abundance of vehicles that are actually there for months and they are not being moved, and it's just dangerous because sometimes there's glass scattered on the floor and there's actual debris just like on the floor, which is unsafe not only for secondary students but also primary students who come by scooters or walk. So maybe that could be solved.
Comments from any other students? You're the head teacher, you're coming up in a minute. We've got you on your own. Councillors, you got any questions for these students that I have to say put a good case across very well?
Thank you. Thank you for... So you came up with that idea of having these walking groups. Has there been any uptake on it?
We have decided that most parents probably wouldn't do it around winter or autumn time because it would be too cold, and obviously parents wouldn't really be bothered at 7 in the morning to walk or a group of students down the road. So we decided it would be more like a summer, spring sort of thing. Yeah. Maybe they would be more interested in those warmer temperatures.
Yeah, so it hasn't actually come to fruition yet. You're working on it at the moment.
So we've got surveys out to parents as well. So we've got quite a few parents that have already volunteered, and we've got sixth formers that are interested in taking part as well. So I think we've got the main plan and what we're going to do. We just need to carry it out.
Yeah, it's interesting that your parents still drop you at school, even though that. So you must obviously talk about these issues at home.
Yeah.
And what sort of feedback are you getting from your parents on it?
So we've, as staff members of Green Academy, they've also sent plenty of emails, plenty of newsletters going on about the roadworks at our road and all the traffic that's going on. So I feel like parents are really starting to get through a little bit because they're starting to realise this is really going on. Because at several points there's 30-minute traffic just on our small road, not even the main roads. So I think it's quite a big issue, really.
Yeah, can I have the others talk about what your parents think about?
We've also thought about the initiative of a coffee morning to bring in all cyclists and all the parents so that we can talk about the issue. And there have been, actually, as Anisha said, leaflets and letters that have been sent on emails, and I think the message has gone across to the parents, especially since we've been spending an hour every single Monday after school just working on separate issues.
I don't know what others, I want to know about your parents, or how are you engaging with your parents, how they're picking up these issues that you're raising with them. Because obviously they're driving you, aren't they? And you don't want them to drive you, you want some other way to do it, you want to pick up green issues. So what's that relationship happening?
So I actually used to, around year 7, I'm in year 9 now, around year 7 I used to come by a car, and then for the most of the time it was alright, but then because as you know we are in an industrial zone, there's so many big trucks, and just like Hanisha said, it takes at least 30 minutes to get in and out of the Springfield Road. So my mum, she told me that we live quite near the school, and I'm lucky for that. And just because of that, I started walking, and now I cycle. But it's not even the parents that are getting lazy. It's just it's not even the students that are actually.
I didn't say that, by the way. Okay. I'm not gonna. Yeah, go on.
So the parents are also getting lazy, and I just think that's like a hazard for students' safeties.
Okay. And just.
So my parents have also, they also encourage me to walk as well, but mainly it's just the safety. So near the Wicks bus stop as well. So there have been quite a few incidents there, which my parents have been informed about as well.
Okay.
So but teachers and staff have been patrolling there, so quite regularly after school. But I feel like that would last only for a temporary while, so we need something permanent that would be like, even on a one-off situation, if there's not someone there, something could happen. So we need something that's not contemporary to guarantee security for people walking and cycling.
Thank you.
Councillor Money.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'm not too sure. It's a Springfield Road. The school's right at the far end, isn't it? So it's in quite a unique position because yeah, that's right. Yeah, because it's in a unique location where it's not a residential area. It's in a industrial commercial area, and you've got Wicks. You've got quite a few builders merchants. So I'm sure the parents are causing the traffic, dropping it off. But surely the HGVs and they contribute to the congestion in the area that are causing the 30mm tailbacks. Have the school reached out, or have the YTA reached out to the businesses, and are they doing anything in a collaborative approach already? Or is that something that the council need to come and have a joint up approach about?
Quite a long time ago, I tried to reach out, and it was just at the end of a school year, and I only had Keyline being really interested, and then it wasn't followed up, which was probably my mistake, but I would really appreciate that. If I could, I would love to have more contact with all the companies, because I also think they would really appreciate just actually venting their views first of all, and once we've done that, once we start communication, then we can start thinking of solutions that would involve everybody. So I would really appreciate help with that, because I wouldn't even need to know how to start contacting everybody. Just contact lists, and then I could email everybody would actually help. Something simple like that. Thank you.
Bit slow today. Yes, as someone who frequents Keyline a fair amount, just something as simple as having a banksman during school hours might help. Help the tailbacks and help sort out the traffic within its own business, because the school's in a very unique place compared to, I've got 5 schools in my ward and none are around an industrial area, so it is quite, it's quite hazardous, and I think the YTA, you guys are doing good work. You guys are doing good work, which is good.
Yes, Davis.
Thank you, Jim. Firstly, can I just say I'm really impressed. We see a lot of people in all our committees, and you guys have put yourself across very well. I think you'd be really good, possibly as some councillors later down the line. So, yeah, you better watch out, guys. With your, I just want to pick you up on your point with the turning off the Oxford Road into Springfield Avenue. I've seen that for a very long time. My mother-in-law lives down there. So, what solution? So you've suggested some sort of solution. What do you think would help stop that? Would it be a barrier? Would it be bigger signage? Would it be a lollipop lady? We know that wouldn't work as well on the Oxford Road, but something like that.
So I think, firstly, signage and a barrier would help, because even with signage, people are still quite adamant that they just want to get through, and it's quite a rush hour in the morning. So people, I honestly don't think everyone would listen to the signage. So I think barriers would be more impactful, and maybe camera coverage, because I think there is a camera situated there, but people, I think it doesn't it doesn't have the full coverage of turning into Springfield Road. So, yeah.
Can I come back, Chairman? Yeah. Thank you. Have you, so I'm not sure if you're aware, but the Uxbridge Road is part of Transport for London. Have you guys written to the Mayor of London to ask for support? Is that something that you guys have done? Is that something that you're looking at doing? Yeah, okay. No, that's brilliant. Thank you.
Well, 2 points on that. Obviously, TfL, do they give you any money for this switch programme? No? Okay, fine. The question I want to know is also, is that does the school provide different time drop-offs so that you stagger the drop-offs so that makes it easier?
So the school is situated at a secondary school and then a primary school and then another primary school. So we do have a 10 to 20 minute gap between the secondary school and the primary school. But as I said, due to the traffic being like half an hour just to get down the road, it isn't really useful because we have primary students cramming, and then we also have siblings which are both in secondary and primary. So there's also a bit of people just parking on the side and waiting those 20 minutes out, which I think is really unhelpful as well. So maybe we could sort that out.
Yeah, I just want to voice my thanks to you as well, because you have presented extremely well, all of you. I noticed we've got another pupil just joined us at the table as well, so welcome to you. I know the school very well. From when I was cabinet member, I went there a couple of times. I think I went to Narek School. It was, in fact, one of them was a coffee afternoon, or it might have been the morning, where you did invite parents in many years ago, and it was very well attended, and that was set up by the YTAs, so that was very good. So I remember being invited, and we came down there, and it took us ages to actually get to the school, because obviously it was first thing in the morning. You are in a unique area, because you are at the very end of a very long road, but you've got the industrial units before you even get there. The cameras you refer to, one of them will be for the bus lane. As you come across the roundabout from the Uxbridge side, where it goes into Southall, you come across almost in three. Then 2 lanes merge to the one, and then you've got the Springfield one a bit further up. But everybody's now trying to avoid the bus lane, so they don't want a ticket for the bus lane. So that's where you then get on this domino effect of all the traffic moving everywhere. So it's a bit of a nightmare. And there is also a speed camera the other side. So they're the cameras that monitor that. And you've probably got a ULEZ one somewhere there. So you've got lots going on there. But the school do an amazing job, or they certainly did when I was cabinet member. And yes, you're right, you did have money off me when I was cabinet member at Dragon's Den more than once, I think. And you've always taken road safety very seriously around that area, so I'm pleased that you've come to us to tell us what you're going to do in the future. And I like Councillor Higgins, the walking groups sound brilliant. If you can get there, and I agree with you, you probably won't get anybody who want to do it in the winter and autumn, especially if there's snow around. But if you can get those off the ground, coffee morning, as I say, I'd do another one, definitely, 100%. Get your parents come in and do it. Most definitely, you could even invite the select committee if you want to. I'm sure we go. But it is a difficult situation you find yourself in, 'cause you're unique. As Councillor Money said, he's got 5 schools in his ward, but not one of them is in an industrial estate. So, yeah, you do well, and although you're called YTAs, I think they're even changing your name again, so don't be surprised you're going to be called something else soon. Councillor Higgins, you indicate it again.
I wouldn't email them, the businesses. I'm a businessman myself. I have loads of emails. Half of them I won't take notice of, to be honest. So I suggest you just walk down there, just knock on the door, speak to the managing director, introduce yourself. You get more out of that than you will emailing people. Yeah.
Can I just pick up on the cycle lane? The cycle lane, as I remember it, as you turn into Springfield Road, is on the left, isn't it? So it goes down, but we haven't put one on the right coming back. So put one on the left where most of the traffic actually parks, I believe, isn't it? From memory, that's where they park their big HGVs. So you start off in the cycle lane, now all of a sudden you're in the middle of the road. But we haven't put one on the right-hand side where nobody generally parks. Although sometimes they do, I think, and then you end up with a bottleneck. Okay, that's something that we take on board as a select committee, definitely. But I'd like to thank you as pupils. You've done your school proud, you've done yourselves proud. Councillor Davies is quite right, we better watch some of our jobs in the future. So well done. Now I believe we are going to speak to Mr. Sidhu, your head teacher. So you can all listen to what your head teacher's got to say and make notes. Because then as YTA you can question him afterwards. Welcome, sir.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate that. And can I say a big thank you for having this encouragement for these children by inviting them and attending this meeting. I'm extremely proud to be part of the same school as they are, and I think you have seen the passion behind the whole movement that they have started here. We are fortunate that we have a lot of solutions as well. And we have put together a number of solutions with the support of YTA, with the support of our parents. We are fortunate to have an alternative car park right next to it, which is Minute Country Park car park. So we use that on a daily basis for the parents, which helps a lot. Sometimes parents are a bit in a hurry, they don't really park there, and that's why they end up parking, which is why our staff members are always out there to push them towards the car park and make sure that traffic is flowing smoothly throughout pick-up and drop-off times. One of the key things is absolutely what students have said here is that we want to encourage our children to walk to school as much as possible, because our admissions policy is based on distance, and a lot of students do live nearby. So we have now encouraged our parents to use Lombardy car park, which is Sainsbury car park. It's like about 10 minutes walk from school, so they can drop off there. And then we have, at the moment, we have had members of staff deployed around the country parks just to make sure that they are safe. But it is a big hassle, I'll be honest with you, to encourage parents to use that country park. I don't know if you're aware, just a few weeks ago there was an incident. Police was involved, and someone was caught, just creating menace for people there, general public. So we are trying to make sure that our parents feel safe to use that country park, and they use that as a walk to school path. But it needs lighting, it needs CCTV, so that parents can feel safe and they can actually make sure that students are encouraged to walk to school or walk from school on a daily basis. So that path can be key here, which will avoid number of traffic issues which we are facing at the moment. Parents have accepted that is a good solution. Our parent governor has done their own survey, and number of parents have loved the solution that we provided, that Lombardy car park is actually going to help. And now even today, it was 1 degree in the morning, but I don't know if you guys were there, but I could see a sea of people coming down from that car park towards the school, just because they feel that there's a member of staff there and it's safe to walk. It was quite dark in the morning, but still they were using it. Mainly it's because at the moment we've got road works going on Springfield Road, and we have sent a number of correspondence to parents just to encourage them to use alternative ways.
Yes, David.
So thank you, Chairman, sorry. When the parents park at Lombardy, do the children walk down the Oxford Road, or do they come through Minette Park?
They come through Minette Park.
They come through Minette Park.
Yeah, so there's a pathway that goes underneath the parkway, and then so that really under bridge is quite dark.
Yeah.
And you know, and no one can.
I went to Minette School.
Yes.
I know that very well.
Yes.
So, if I may, Chairman, one more. Has the SNT, so without mirroring comments that were said earlier, have you got a good relationship with the Safer Neighbourhoods police team? And what have they done to improve that area?
To be honest, like they have been very supportive. They have. Every time we have reached out to them, they said that let's have a meeting and then we'll find solutions. But they have been very honest that it's very difficult to deploy someone there every day on a daily basis just to make sure these things are. The suggestion I'm putting forward are coming from them as well. They said like it'll be detrimental to have these measures in place for parents to feel safe and students to use that pathway more often when they are coming or going from school.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor Higgins?
Yeah, the minute the lighting, in my previous life I was in charge of something like that park, and I know there's this fine balance between nature and what for usage. So lighting is going to be very difficult. I'm going to think you're going to get a lot of resistance from the environment side of stuff. I think underneath that tunnel needs sorting out. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Before we were talking to the other witness, and we just sort of think, how often are you informing the parents about, I'm going to say, bad behaviour, really, parking on pavements and blocking driveways? I mean, is that something? I know that every head teacher I spoke to, this is an ongoing battle. They have this, keep having to do it every 3 months. I mean, is that the same situation for yourself?
I think since we opened yesterday, students they had their first day today, and we have already sent 2 letters out to inform them about the situation. Last term we managed to send about 3 or 4 letters just to informing them about how things are. It's mainly because there were roadworks planned, but like students already said that it's designated part of our newsletter that goes out every half term to all the parents, that what YTA is doing and how we're managing traffic and how parents can be helpful. It's ongoing agenda with our parent governor as well. Whenever we have a meeting, our health and safety committee meets 5 times a year, and it's always on there to discuss the measures and to discuss the solutions. And we do get a lot of support from parents, but it's only minority of parents they choose to disregard certain solutions that we put forward.
Just to follow up, other schools have used a name-shame policy.
No.
And I think it works, I'm afraid. It might be something you can consider. I know it's against everything, your principles, but it's something that needs to be done, because it's. And I'm concerned also because if the cycle lane and the industrial units are parking on cycle lanes, that's also very dangerous. So maybe something we have to talk about as well. But
I appreciate that.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Councillor Money?
I find that having a meeting with the children is quite good, so that they can embarrass their parents. My kids are quite young, and they go to a primary school, and they were given a lesson about school safety, and they came out, and for the whole week and ever since, they're like, oh, they're parking on yellow lines, oh, look how they're double parked. And they say it openly, and you know what kids are like. So it is a good approach, and it really made us think. Not that we were parking wrong, but it really makes you think.
No, I appreciate that. Yeah. Thank you. I'll keep that in mind.
Any other questions from Mr. Sidhu?
Just one more thing, which students have already mentioned. One of the Minute Park is going to be very, very vital for us to if we can find some solutions on that. But also the lorries that are parked on the side of the road, and these are abandoned lorries most of the time. There's a trailer at the moment which is parked there for the last 3-4 days, and it's just like like students have said that we just don't know who to reach out to. And 2 years ago, we have I've got the list of all the emails that goes around to all the businesses anyway. But businesses have their own priorities. I have spoken to the businesses around Springfield Road. I have reached out to them. My predecessor did the same thing. We've been working together to see like if we can, but clearly they won't manage to hit losses just because we want to put some measures in place. They won't agree on that because they've got their deliveries, they've got their own sort of timetable that they have to stick to, and these are things which they are used to of now. So it gets to the point where either it's enforced or it won't happen. So where we can force it, that's where we can come in and council can support to put those timings in place. We are talking about 1 hour in the morning and 1 hour in the afternoon, where we can say that no lorries or heavy duty vehicles are not allowed on that road. If that can be enforced, then it'll be brilliant. Otherwise, those abandoned lorries or trailers which are parked there, if we can make sure that can stop, that will have a massive impact on traffic as well.
Councillor Higgins, you indicated.
It's a remiss for me. I should have asked you before because I did ask the students. Staggered delivery, staggered drop-offs. They're saying that hasn't happened. Can you explain to us why?
It is in place, but like students have said that we do have because it's part of our admission policy that siblings are given priority, which is why we do have large number of siblings. And we do open our doors very early in the morning. Our school starts at 5 to 8, but our doors are open at 7:15, and we have a member of staff managing a breakfast club in the morning. Students come in. So parents do have options to come and drop off the kids. We have 3 schools at the moment, and those 3 schools are on different times, so parents do come in throughout that 1 hour on different times.
I notice we've got one student who joined us very late. Is there anything you want to add that you've heard from your friends?
I'd like to add that in Minette, when you walk down to the school, when parents are trying to drive, they go on top of there's a curve, the pavement where we walk, then there's a bicycle lane, and parents like to what they do is go on top of it, so they think they'll reach home quicker. However, it also affects pedestrians walking, school children walking, because we have to go in the bike lane, but then there's danger because there are bikes in the bike lane. Also, I have seen my friend, she left school now, but she once was going with her sister who is currently going at the 6th form, and she almost got knocked over by a car, not nearly, but it was really close because there was a really big rush, and parents just put their cars over that pavement, and a lot of students walk that way daily as well.
There's your name and shame.
On
a plate. That's just madness. It's against the law as well.
It is embarrassing, and then it's been addressed in a number of correspondence to parents that these things happen, but we can just hope that the idea will get through. The ITA group is doing brilliant because they have managed to do assemblies with young children, and they have educated them. They have shared their ideas and their stories with the students. So we are doing that part, but bringing parents on board is going to be a big challenge, and we are trying that.
Coffee morning. Councillor Higgins.
I seem to ask you to, because students, if you see that and you have mobile phones with cameras, take a photo, give it to your head teacher, and let him deal with it. Yeah, because it's against the law, and it's just unacceptable behaviour. Okay, that's my advice.
I'd like to thank you all for coming in, Mrs. Sidhu, Mrs. Botras, and obviously all the students. You've put your cases across, you've told us what you're doing, and I'm sure you work very closely with Lisa and everybody in the STARS team as well. So thank you once again for coming in and seeing us this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Really appreciate that opportunity. Thank you.
You can leave if you wish to. You don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. Especially as you only returned to school today. Right, agenda item 6 is the budget proposals for services within the remit of Property, Highways and Transport Select Committee. I'll make it very clear, this is only discussion for what was in our remit. I will not allow any councillor to stray off to other areas because they either sit on another committee or have got something else to say about the overall budget. This is literally what is within our remit, okay? So, we have before us the recommendations here. It's recommended committee notes the budget projections contained in the report, comments as appropriate on the combined budget proposals affecting relevant service areas within the Property, Highways and Transport Cabinet portfolio within the context of the corporate budgetary position. I want to kick off by saying that it's a sound position when you consider some other local authorities. I think Hillingdon are still delivering for residents in these areas, and also where we're getting underspends and we are 75% banked or on track for delivering full potential risks arising on 1% of our savings overall. So I think it is a balanced budget here. I think it's robust and is a good one yet again for residents of Hillingdon, but I'll open it up to the floor. Anyone? No? Officers, do you want to comment on areas within the budget, please?
Thank you, Chair. So this is the second finance appearance of the Select Committees for the new budget cycle, where we'll be presenting the detailed budget proposals within the remit of this committee for discussion and consideration. The feedback from this committee will then be included in the budget report, which will be presented to February Cabinet, where Cabinet will be asked to approve the budget proposals to full council. I won't be running through the whole report, but will provide headlines in terms of the council's in-year monitoring position and set out the context of the council's approved budget strategy. For 23-24, the council are reporting a net underspend of £2,000, with the services within the remit of this committee forecast to underspend by £422,000. This underspend is being driven by the interactions between the property team and the recharges to capital, alongside an underspend on the council's business rates liability following a favourable review of the Battle of Britain bunker. Within these services, there are £1.9 million worth of savings to be delivered in 23-24, with £303,000 continuing to be recorded as Amber 2. This relates to the saving to reduce Civic Centre operating costs, and a further £100,000 at Amber 1 linked to a review of voluntary sector leases. In the consultation budget presented to December Cabinet, the Council's saving requirement to 28-29 was estimated to be £51 million, with a saving programme of £33.4 million, leaving a residual gap of £17.6 million. The single largest factor in the strategy continues to be exceptional inflation, adding £48.1 million to the budget gap. Within the remit of this committee, there are no exceptional inflation items, with a total requirement within the remit of this committee accounting for 2.1 million of the 48.1 requirement, with the forecast pay award making up 0.9 million of this sum, and the remaining 1.2 being driven by inflation requirements on contracted expenditure. Service pressures are forecast to add £24 million, predominantly from the impact of demographic growth, with no service pressure in the NTSS falling within the remit of this committee. Finally, corporate items add 14 million to the saving requirement, with 7 million of this being driven by the Council's borrowing requirement to fund the capital programme,
and 5 million from the TfL concessionary fares levy as a result of demand returning to pre-pandemic levels, with this element of the budget gap sitting outside of this committee. Following the work carried out during the autumn, the consultation budget presented a saving programme of 33.4 million, with 15.8 million of that being required to balance the budget in 24-25. Within this programme, 2.1 million falls within the remit of this committee, with 1.8 million being required in 24-25. The single largest saving is the review of the Civic Centre operating costs, with a saving of £975,000 included in the proposals, with a further £710,000 linked to maximising the council's assets, including reviewing maintenance contracts, licences and lease income. There is a capital programme budget of 218 million through to 28-29, with 159 million of this being within the remit of this committee. The major projects programme includes 16.7 million to complete the construction of the new West Drayton Leisure Centre, 23.3 million for the new Hillingdon Water Sports Facility, alongside investment in the Civic Centre and decarbonisation. Included in the programme of works budget is £40 million investment in the borough's roads and footpaths, 18.5 million on the borough's existing schools, and 10.7 million on adaptations to residence homes. Included in the remit of this committee is also a £442 million investment in the HRA to increase the housing stock maintained by the council, aiming to increase supply by 614 new dwellings alongside maintaining existing stock. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Any questions? Councillor Core?
Thank you, Chair. Because I do not understand most of the terminology, I wonder how a layman is supposed to break this down. For my ease of understanding, if you could explain what is zero-based reviews. It's on page 17. Yes, please. Thank you. And then I have a follow-up.
Thank you, Councillor. So what that means is that you're basically building your budget from zero, building it from the ground up. So you're looking at what you need to do in order to deliver the service and meet the service objectives. So you're looking at levels of demand and what the cost drivers are within that service. So the alternative to that is incremental budgeting, where you basically take your budget from the prior year and you look at the elements that are moving to come up with your budget for the next year. So zero-based means you're doing it from the beginning, from the ground up, looking at your demand, looking at what the service needs to deliver, looking at all the different options that are out there, whether that's insourcing, outsourcing, different contract types, hybrid kind of contracts with a split between the two, to come up with the best solution to deliver the service at with the best outcomes and within the budget envelope. Thanks.
Thank
Still
you,
look
Chair.
none the wiser.
Yes. No.
It's all right. I was an auditor and I followed every word.
It's kind of gone. Some of it is.
Councillor Higgins.
I can help you if you wish.
I
can translate into
English.
Into English.
English.
Basically is that you start if you're going to. It's doing what the commercial side do outside, so other business would do this. So what you do is you start off with no expenditure, and then you look at what is the expenditure that's going to come forward in the following year. Does that make easy? Is that easy to understand? Yeah. A little bit easier, yeah? It's a blank piece of paper, basically. You're starting from nothing.
So basically what you're not doing is taking last year's budget, thinking, right, inflation's this, there's that, this element, that element, let's add a bit of this in, put 10% there, tweak it, and there's your budget. No. You're not doing it that way at all. We're starting from zero and then building it. So it's a much better way of accounting and a much better way to make sure you've got stable and accurate budgets.
So basically we are working off no baseline then. So we are...
Yes and no, yeah, because obviously you know what your expenditure was last year on certain elements. What used to happen is that whatever the budget was last year, they just put it straight in and then tinker with it that way. What you're doing is you're looking at the budget last year and you take elements of that and you're building the new one from the ground up. So it's like building a house.
Okay, not taking an average.
No, because that's what gets a lot of authorities into trouble. This way, you're actually working with what you've got.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor.
Any other questions for officers?
Sorry.
Councillor Cole?
Thank you. Where it says there is 117k to be delivered from reviewing staffing vacancies across the portfolio. Does that mean reduction in staff, or does that mean something else that you might be able to explain better, Andy? So, reviewing staffing vacancies. Are we laying off staff here, or are we not recruiting more people in yet, or have we, or sorry, Chair, if it's not to be mocked at, because not everyone would so
I agree. Do you want to take that? Because the answer basically is we're not laying anybody off. It's like any company. I work for the NHS and we do exactly the same thing.
Yeah, thank you, Councillor, for the question. What we look at is we have a budgeted establishment, and then we know where our vacancies are. We know how long roughly it takes to recruit them and fill them. We know how we're procuring on the interim market when we need to fill those posts whilst the recruitment's taking place. So what we're doing really is we're just looking at that budgeted establishment, how long it takes to fill vacant posts and that kind of churn, because you always have churn in organisations. Also, we've got well over 2,000 employees here. So what we're doing is we're looking at how much we tend to spend on staffing as a percentage of that establishment, so we can then readjust the budget to match what we actually spend on staffing based on kind of prior history and trends and the data that we're seeing coming through. Thank you.
Thank you. So it's definitely not about laying people off or anything. Okay. Any other questions for officers? No? Oh, just Councillor Money, just in time.
Just on staff retention, how is our staff retention compared to other bigger organisations?
I'm afraid
outside our remit,
because some stuff would be in your remit, but that's probably a question more for HR than it would be for finance.
Yeah, it would be for a different select committee. Okay, any other questions? No? Thank you, Kerry, for running through that for us. I expect you attending nearly every select committee and saying, right, in your portfolio, outside your portfolio. So thanks for running through that, and thanks Andy for coming in as well and supporting Kerry on that. And it will all come out in the wash when we have the council meeting to set the budget. As I said earlier, I think it is a good budget from our point of view, property, highways and transport. The wording is that we could agree comments now or delegate to Democratic Service Officer in conjunction with the Chairman, myself, and in consultation with the Opposition Lead to agree comments to be submitted to Cabinet. Are you happy for Democratic Services to put forward or put together comments from this committee and we agree it and then it goes to Cabinet?
Yeah, I think that'll work fine.
Happy with that? Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, officers. You can go as well now if you want to. Unless you want to stay for the very last two items, which should take about 2 minutes. Okay, agenda item 7 is the Cabinet Forward Plan. I've been through it. A lot of what's on here is actually going to be private part 2 items, if you've read through this. And what is in the public, obviously we've got the school capital programme update, but I think we're going to get that anyway. The public preview of matters to be considered in private, that's nothing to do with us. Is there anything on here that Councillors wish to have more details on? No? Okay. So we're happy with what's on the full plan at the moment. Okay, so we agree that. Okay, and we note that. Moving on now to list of our meetings. As you'll see, our next meeting is scheduled for the 8th of February. If we go along, 8th of February, it's got here that we've got our findings from the witness sessions. It's also got the final review report agreement for here. Going down the line, we've also got our full plan monitoring as usual. Going across, we've got, is that the Cranford Park one that's coming to us next time? I'll follow that across. Cranford Park Heritage Asset Project, and we've also got the Civic Centre Works Project update at next meeting. That'll be an interesting one, Civic Centre. So we'll see, that's the 8th of February. We then have the 6th of March and the 9th of April on the programme. And as you will see, draft report is coming to us to discuss on March 6th, and it's going to Cabinet April 9th. Then we've got the Building Safety Strategy on March, Cabinet Forward Plan as usual, March, and we have the future of the Council's fleet, including electrification of LBH fleet, being an interesting one. And then we also have in March draft Hillingdon cycling strategy by the looks of that. And then in April is our report for Cabinet, and then the monitoring, building safety strategy again, Civic Centre update, and the bus routes, which I think we asked to be on there, didn't we? We asked the bus routes, so that's on there in April. Happy with that? Agree that? Councillor Core?
It looks like a quite packed program. I was wondering if we could somewhere get an update on how West Drayton Leisure Centre is coming along. Some report on that would be helpful.
I think at this stage, I don't think we've got anything within our remit to look at that at the moment. I think it's still going through the process, isn't it?
That's right.
It's still going through the process of tender, etc., isn't it?
And that's right. But I can liaise with officers and see what information is available for the committee, and I'll update you, Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Any other comments? Okay, thank you very much for your attendance this evening. Thank you, Councillor Higgins, for substituting as well this evening. Safe journeys home. There's no snow, thankfully. So, oh, okay. Councillor Davis has now given